What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a build I've been using that is just a really high fun factor build. If you like builds that have a lot of character and you like playing play styles that are maybe they feel a little bit more unique, feel like they have a little bit of their own sort of identity to them, then you may really enjoy this build. So I've been told a number of times that Monte Carlo works really well with defenders, and I've used that combination before, but I really hit it hard this weekend and had a ton of fun playing with it. So I'll walk through the setup with you of what I'm using, and you can see how it plays out. And all this gameplay is in 6v6 playlists. I think that this build is a little bit lackluster in 3v3. I think that in 3s you just get so many of the the meta loadouts, and it's really tough to go against, especially if the matchmaking is unfavorable to you and gives you lots of full teams and stuff. But 3s tends to be a little bit stiffer competition, and builds like this tend to compete a little bit less. That's not me saying that they're useless in 3v3, not at all. But I'm just saying that the matchmaking there in the 3s tends to give you guys who are a little bit tougher. So anyways, this is all in 6s, and I had a lot of fun in 6s with this build. Here's how it plays out. What I'm doing, how I'm using this build is I'm using it in conjunction with a shotgun first and foremost, and no backup plans. So those two things together are going to give you force barrier, because anytime you get a shotgun kill with the no backup plans on, it's going to take your melee charge if your melee is charged, and it's going to give you the force barrier. So you want to get force barrier as much as possible. So that's why I'm using the Monte Carlo. Now here is the skill tree build of what I'm rocking here. Using the weapons of light, I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Suppressor grenades are just a no-brainer for me in the defender subclass. So useful, so useful if you're good at them. Untouchable, I like the short cooldown on my Ward of Dawn. So I want to drop as many weapons bubbles as possible. Now, talking about the Monte Carlo, I've almost always used Send It. But I found this weekend I'm switching over to high caliber rounds, and I feel like I'm really not losing anything in terms of my accuracy and effective range on the Monte Carlo. So I've switched to these high caliber rounds just to try and stagger opponents a little bit more, and I don't feel the effects on my hit registration at range. So I feel like I'm not losing anything, but I'm gaining something a little bit small. Now here's the thing about weapons. When I'm using a weapons of light bubble, look at my placement here. It's back farther. It's not like on the objective point that I want to take. There's a very good reason for that. When you're using a weapons of light bubble, the goal is not to have people come into your bubble. That's actually the opposite of what you want, because you're still pretty vulnerable inside your bubble. So what you actually want is, you don't want to trade with a shotgunner in your bubble. That happens a lot if you're using weapons of light. Instead, what you want to do is you want to find a spot to throw down your weapons of light bubble that's going to be a little bit more team oriented. So it's going to be back away from the objective points, away from the hot spots on the map. It's going to be something that you're going to throw down for you and your teammates in a safer area, so that you can drop some orbs for your teammates. They can grab them before they head into the fight. Maybe they've got supers up now. Maybe you're going to do a super train. And that's really nice to drop lots of orbs for your team. But the goal is to drop it in a safe spot and then push forward from that spot and have your buff. So you want to have your weapons of light buff, step out of your bubble and into an engagement, and have that additional weapon damage, and that's going to come in handy. So it's great for pushing objective points, but you don't want to go in and just drop it right on the point. That's what I'm saying. Every now and then I do drop it just right here in the top mid, or right on the spark spawn location, and that can be the right move. But usually when you're using the weapons of light, like I said, keep it back and out of the engagement zone. So I really like suppressor grenades. They do a lot of great things for you. They have a nice area of effect. You don't have to save them and use them on people who only have their supers active. You can use them on anybody and take away their abilities to use all of those things that they have to their they have available to them, like their double jumps, jump abilities, melee abilities, grenades, supers. All those things they can't use when they're suppressed. So man, these grenades, they are the cat's pajamas. And now here's the thing about this build, is you want to be balancing aggression with passiveness. So you want to have your force barrier active as much as possible. You see here I do have it active, so I'm sort of running and gunning in this gameplay right here. That's because I do have that force barrier. I've got the ability to reload my weapons quickly. You basically are granted quick draw, which is really nice to have, especially on a defender, because usually that's reserved for the blade dansoirs. So force barrier, I love having War Machine. I think that is the way to go. A quick reminder about the Monte Carlo: take advantage of the hip fire accuracy in close quarters. Instead of trying to do target acquisition on guys that are right up on you by aiming down sights, instead of doing that, just fire from the hip. A lot easier to track moving people in close range if you're just shooting from the hip. So, like I said, you're balancing aggression with passiveness. So you're going to throw your bubble down, be a little bit passive, maybe bait guys in, and get kills with your Monte Carlo to build up your melee charge if you don't have it anymore. So when you don't have force barrier active, I'm defaulting to having the Monte Carlo out, and I'm playing a little bit slower. Once I get a kill or two and my melee ability is charged again, then that's when I'm going to go on the aggression, and I'm going to rack up kills with my force barrier active. And as I rack up kills, I'm building super energy, so then I can drop a bubble, and then I can go aggressive again with the Weapons of Light buff. And when you're playing a Defender Titan, you do have to remember especially that your job is not just to be a warrior. Your job is also to be a major support team player for your team. So make sure you're dropping that bubble when you got teammates around you, unless it's a do or die thing and you really got to drop it to save your life. But otherwise, just drop it where lots of your teammates are. Grant them some super energy, and that's going to do wonders for your win percentage, especially when you're solo queuing. So I played this build the whole time I was solo queued. Here you're going to see me derp out a little bit. I was really excited. I was really running and gunning, racking up a number of kills right off the bat in this Rift match. Push forward, I'm going to get even more kills, and I'm looking down at my super energy bar, and I'm like, oh, it's full, sweet. So I kind of derped out and forgot that I had the spark. I forgot that having the spark takes away your supercharge momentarily. I just kind of brain farted. So I was just kind of going in here, and then that melee there, that was me trying to drop my bubble. I was like, oh man, now I'm going to drop this bubble and Weapons of Light warrior these guys. And it didn't happen because I'm an idiot. So just something to keep in my gentle reminder. So man, I'm having a ton of fun with this build. I actually think I might take it into trials just for fun, not because it's the most competitive thing in 3v3, kind of like I talked about, but just because it has a high fun factor. And you guys know me, I'm not all about using what is the best of the best. And that's not to say that I think Monte Carlo is a weak primary. I actually don't. I think Monte Carlo is in a really good spot. Monte Carlo does have a relatively low time to kill. When you got Weapons of Light on like this, man, the thing just shreds people. It's so much fun to pop a weapons bubble and run forward with this thing. So much fun. So I'm using my bubble as a tether point. I'm basically dropping it, running out, challenging opponents, running back to the bubble, running out, challenging opponents, running back to the bubble. And that's generally how you want to use your bubble if you're using either Weapons of Light or Blessing. So if you're using Armor of Light, obviously you just want to hang out inside there, but with the other two, it just plays out a little bit differently. And that's one of the things I like about the Defender, is the way that you play it can change just based on one skill in the skill tree that you decide to change. And I like how diverse it can be. So I do also love the aesthetics of the no backup plans. This is one of those builds that I feel good using it because it looks good. Monte Carlo is a beautiful weapon. No backup plans are a great looking exotic. You see them as you're reloading and shooting and meleeing. So you get to sort of see your own exotic armor as you're wearing it. It just looks so cool. So you feel pretty hardcore when you're running around with stuff like this, and that's one of the best things about Destiny, in my opinion, is all the freedom you have to sort of have a character that is unique. That doesn't mean that everyone plays that way, but that's the way that I prefer to play. So I'd be interested to know, what are some of your fun loadouts that you just like to cruise around with in the Crucible when you're not just trying to try hard all the time? For me, this was one of them. I love using this build just because it's so much fun. And that's not to say that it's ineffective. It actually can be used highly effectively. And I really enjoy the character that it has. So what are yours? Post in the comments section. What are some of your favorite loadouts you like to use when you're not trying to try hard, you're not trying to be the most competitive person in the world? I'd be interested to hear. Just a quick note, in this gameplay I'm using a sensitivity of 5 because I'm running with a shotgun. I get that question probably every single video I post. What sensitivity are you running? Always on 5 when I shotgun and 3 when I snipe, unless I forget to switch, and that happens from time to time. So it's either 3 or 5. one of the two. Those are the sensitivities that I rock. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully you're having a great weekend, and we'll catch you in the Crucible.